Well, Deb Murphy filed this report for Sierra Wave Media. Inyo County's 5 unhappy supervisors voted to approve the new Bishop Sunland landfill lease that ups the cost in the third year of a 3-year lease from $4,900 to more than $22,000 annually, and positions the landowner, the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, as the county's babysitter in what appears to be all matters having to do with trash. Now, the lease requires LADWP approval on all matter of minutia, including signage. Said Inyo County Supervisor Jeff Griffiths at Tuesday's board meeting, quote, "I can see Cal Recycle," that's the state agency in charge of landfills, "requiring a new sign. DWP drags its feet. Cal Recycle says we're not in compliance with our permit, and we're back in the same circle," end quote. Now, Supervisor Griffith's remark was in reference to the landfill's current permit non-compliant status for exceeding weight limits. The fix is simple: amend the permit, but LADWP wouldn't sign off without a lease Supervisor Dan Totheroke described as ridiculous. Supervisor Rick Pucci also weighed in, saying, quote, "DWP seems to forget it's a public agency. Dumps aren't conveniences. They're public health issues. This isn't a moneymaker. We can't move it. They're not mean people over there. I can't understand why they can't work with us," end quote. Now, remarking on his constituents' input, Supervisor Matt Kingsley said the consensus is the lease has to be signed, amending media headlines referring to rocks and hard places. That was Sierra Wave Media's. Kingsley said, quote, "This is more like between the devil and the deep blue sea. We have to deal with the devil," end quote. Again, we thank Deb Murphy for that update from Tuesday's Inyo County Board of Supervisors meeting. And we've got an update on flu activity. This coming from Richard Johnson, Mono County Health Department, as well as the Inyo County Health Officer. And Dr. Johnson notes that locally during the week ending last Saturday, January 14th, almost 21% of visits to Sierra Park Pediatrics were for influenza-like illness. This easily surpasses the previous highest percentage over the last 10 years for which Mono County has records. Sierra Park Family Medicine recorded 2.2% of visits of influ-like illness, which is just above the epidemic threshold. Now, hospitalizations thus far this winter season include 6 infants with respiratory virus syncytial, also 5 adults with pneumonia and 3 adults with laboratory confirmed influenza. 2 of the pneumonia cases and all 3 of the influenza cases have been since the first of this year. Now, the California Department of Public Health calls recent trends increasingly alarming, with sharp increases in all measures of influenza activity. There are a large number of outbreaks in long-term care facilities, and a number of hospitals are having trouble finding room for all persons needing hospital care for pneumonia and/or influenza. Now, the press release continues that reports indicate the highest levels in the last 10 years. The steep increase occurred first in Northern California, but is now spread throughout Southern California. There have been 9 deaths in influenza-related cases in persons 65 years of age and older, 63 intensive care unit admissions, and 47 outbreaks. These numbers, the press release notes, are particularly disturbing, given that we have not reached the peak season of the influenza season as yet, which is usually around the second week of February. Now, the good news is that the strains in this year's vaccine are a good match for what is circulating. The bad news is that the main culprit is the type A H3N2 strain, which tends to be the most severe, especially for those 65 years of age and older. Getting a flu vaccine is still the most single important thing you can do to prevent illness, to lessen its severity, and to limit its spread. And Dr. Johnson notes the supply is plentiful. Now, in addition, obviously, stay home if you are sick and stay away from people who are sick. A lot of us try to do that all the time. This is especially important for those over 65 years of age or with any chronic medical conditions. Also, remember to cover your cough, wash your hands frequently with soap and warm water, and avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth as much as possible. Well, the Inyo County Sheriff's Office reminding residents and businesses of Inyo County to sign up for Code Red. Now, this is especially important if you have changed your phone number or address in the past year, or if you use a cellular phone as your primary number. Now, Code Red is the high-speed notification solution that quickly delivers emergency messages to targeted areas or the entire county. Because the notifications are geographically based, a street address is required to ensure emergency and notification calls are received by the proper individuals in a given situation. Now, you can sign up for Code Red and the press release notes. It's simple. Click on the Code Red link on the Inyo County Sheriff's Department webpage, which is inyosheriff.org, or you can stop by any of the substations and pick up an enrollment form during business hours. We'll be back with more news.